time to talk music, audio gear, and anything else that crosses our minds. I'm Mark.
And I'm Peter.
And welcome to the Hurton Audio Podcast. So, this week we have Sabrina Carpenter's brand new album, Short and Sweet, that has come out, which is the talk of the town since Espresso and Please, Please, Please have been big songs of the summer so far. Espresso barely leaving the UK top 10 for the majority of the summer, sticking around with Shabuzi and a bunch of people.
Yeah.
They definitely have just lingered some of these songs. And listening through a lot of the album is very interesting because it's not what I expected it to be. It's actually got a much... I mean, I expected just a generic pop album with maybe a little bit of country to it. But the direction is very favourable. As a Bleachers fan, that Jack Antonoff and a lot of the Bleachers band are like involved in recording and stuff.
Yeah, I think there's a couple of songs dotted across the album. I don't know if it's half the album or it's like all of them in Bleachers have done like 2 songs each or something. I'm sure a vaster credits like would explain it. But we know Jack Antonoff was involved with the writing process of the album because he obviously did a lot of production and writing on Please, Please, Please. And so it makes sense that it leans in more of a yacht rock direction because there's the players there. You know, Bleachers are a very good band for playing like just nice rock sort of music. And they're a bit of a chameleon band. I mean, the thing is with Bleachers is that, or should I say Jack Antonoff, but it comes across as Bleachers sometimes because he's, you know, if you follow the members of Bleachers on Instagram, every time one of these pop albums comes out, you'll see the drummers like Sean Hutchinson, or at least Sean Hutch. I know that's his nickname. He's like saying, "Oh yeah, I played drums on 2 of the songs of this album. It's a really good album. Congrats, Sabrina." And then like the other guys are also saying stuff like that when they're on albums, and so you're like, right, so they're just like sessioning around all these pop albums because Jack Antonoff's probably saying, "Oh, drums, yeah, I'll get it done. I know a guy," and he's just getting his band. And I'm sure we're saying this about somebody else's album because it just seems really, really common that this is happening for the Bleachers gang.
But I mean, it makes sense because if Sabrina Carpenter idolizes Taylor Swift and she enjoys the way Taylor Swift's remake albums and new albums have been recorded, she's going to go for the same producer. And like we say, the drummer from Bleachers, Sean Hutch, we'll say, he's played drums on a lot of Taylor Swift songs.
Yeah.
By proxy of having Jack Antonoff produce and stuff like that. I'm not saying he's not a talented drummer. I'm just saying it's that tends to be the way the industry goes. It's who you know.
It's an easy bridge to say that, well, if Jack's like going to produce it, if he's going to hire a drummer,
he's going to hire a drummer who knows. Yeah. So what's been really interesting with this, because I've really liked my favourite songs on the album that aren't the singles, is Taste. Well, sorry, yeah, that is a single, but it's a new single, if you know what I mean. It's a new song to me because it wasn't Please, Please, Please or Espresso, but I'm actually glad they released one of the best songs, in my opinion, as a single because they often don't. The other song that comes to mind is Juno. Juno is just a fantastic, like, it's really hard to put your finger on what exactly it is in places, but they're just really good, like, sort of in a Fleetwood Mac sort of country direction. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's very acoustic, but then a little bit like overdriven and electric in places.
They're very like classic pop rock. That's how I would describe it.
Yeah, and just to reinforce this baseless claim that I'm saying this sounds like yacht rock, I'm not the only one. I've seen a few people who's said this. I saw a Yacht Rock Reddit post talking about Please, 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 people saying they want a Yacht Rock comeback in the charts. And then also the Guardian article, they sort of let me find the quote, because I know it's here somewhere.
Because there's a big move towards this sort of more produced sound and this more live instrumentation-focused sound. Because the problem is, with music, if you do everything in the box, it's hard to stand out because everybody can do anything in the box. So I think that there is becoming, at least in the mainstream chart, a return to like player-centric music, like we were saying about Post Malone's album. But also like the people who aren't like using players, the people who are predominantly working in the box or with synthesizers and hardware are getting just, you know, crazy production, like say like Charlie XCX having her myriad of different collaborators on Brat to make an album that is, very advanced in that field, even though I think a lot of people would listen to Brat and think it's a very simplistic sounding album because it's so electronic, but the synth sounds and the production choices that A.G. Cook and George Daniels, and I know there's a couple more producers, make on that album are so avant-garde in comparison to your this is how to mix 101, this is your patch design 101.
Yeah.
That's why these people are getting involved in these albums, or that's why, Charlie XCX has had a continuous thread or through line with A.G. Cook being a constant collaborator, because he's bringing something to the table that makes her sound even more unique.
So I've got 4 articles in a row. We have The Guardian, they're saying it's yacht rock meets country. We've got Washington Post saying yacht rocker, please, please, please. We have Yahoo Live saying that the album is TikTok pop, yacht rock, country. And then we have BBC saying that the album is yacht rock, country, R&B.
Speaking
so very
of
interesting.
TikTok pop, I've seen that they're talking about the fact that they had a TikTok stage at Reading and Leeds, and apparently it was a smash.
Really?
But again, I know we've seen some stuff where people have described the TikTok songs, and it's a lot of the people know the viral part, which is 6 to 10 seconds.
Yeah.
So you've got a full song unfolding, and unless you go listen to that artist, if you're just banking on the virality of the TikTok stuff, it's only a very, very small portion that people know. So it's a very interesting thing that's popping up, and I'm curious to see how long it can sort of sustain itself. And if these people can actually build full-fledged music careers from these viral hits.
Do you not think that TikTok pop is just a term that people who are out of the know will use to make it sound like something new?
100%.
The BBC are the only ones who are saying TikTok pop.
Well, I have said, to be honest, I think it was BBC talking about TikTok stage as well.
Yeah.
It's an easy grab because I suppose people who don't understand it want to know, so they click on it. And then people who do understand are I bet they got it wrong and click on it. So
could you imagine going to a band 15 years ago and saying you're Facebook rock band?
Oh, shudders.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I do think a lot of people won't really want that to stick, because TikTok is the vehicle. The music isn't for TikTok, if you know what I mean. TikTok is to promote the song, arguably.
Yes. Yeah.
Now, some people may disagree with that, but that is how any social media has been used forever, basically. Any media has been used to boost the actual product, which is the music.
I feel like each social media is has more of a grip on young people than the previous one did.
Yeah.
Because I feel like Facebook, it was everywhere, but it wasn't when you talk to young people, a lot of people are I mainly buy items from the TikTok shop. And if I see an advert on TikTok, it makes me more likely to buy than anything else. And I'm that's very different, because when everybody was starting out on Facebook and Twitter, I don't think that was the mindset. It was you may be exposed to something,
but it also wasn't Shopify yet, and that's
No,
not Shopify, but it wasn't made into a commercial store. They were started as just connection sites. It wasn't
true.
go buy this product here, here's how it's full of ads and stuff. But what's interesting with this album is it sort of covers a lot of different genres, but I think for me what it does really well is it does everything very tastefully, pun intended. But also, I think it's just had a really fun release rollout. The music video for Taste, if you've not seen it, is Mortal Kombat-esque in the way that Sabrina gets impaled on a fence out of a window, which I don't know why. That's the main clip that I've seen Billboard and everybody share, is not there's no warning graphic content or anything. It's just, you're scrolling down Instagram and it's all right, and she gets launched out a window with a shotgun and impaled on a fence, and there's just fake blood everywhere.
See, all of her videos have been very, very funny. All Sabrina Carpenter's videos are very self-aware, very funny, very tongue-in-cheek in the way that they've been approached. I think it's the same as the songs, to be honest. There's a lot of, a bit like what she did with Nonsense all the time. It's very self-aware, very, I'm poking fun at myself, but it's also funny, but also, everybody gets it, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I suppose it's what you need at the moment, which is some not so serious music.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I love We Pray by Coldplay, but you can't listen to music like that all day long.
It feels very serious when you listen to that song.
Yeah.
Yeah, which we did because there's an extended EP. If you buy it physically on CD or vinyl, you get the song. You get 5 versions of the song. We was very much struggling to tell the difference in the first 4 versions. I think there was different raps edited in and out, like different comps of the overall vocal collaborations, and then a live version on the end. But yes, very, very serious song.
So, and that's sort of what's nice about Yacht Rock. And, I'd be very surprised if none of these songs made an appearance on GTA 6. I'll say that. Speaking of the Yacht Rock theme in Vice City, I could see that very much with these songs being very like you say, self-aware, very comedically driven, and like very like poking fun at essentially the listener. I mean,
at the rate that Sabrina Carpenter's going, she'll have a new album out before GTA 6 drops.
Yeah, probably. I think a lot of people will. But like I say, it's very interesting because I really like Yacht Rock. So it's really nice to have albums come out, like some of the big albums, and listen to it and go, well, I actually like this music. Do you know what I mean? It is nice. And like I said, what's really cool is that I feel like it's like Yacht Rock, but it's Yacht Rock I haven't heard before. Particularly Taste, Juno, Espresso's more disco, but there's a hint of it there because there's a lot of guitar on this album. There's a lot of acoustic guitar, but there's also like a lot of like electric guitars.
There's some very nice lead sections, as you're saying, like some solo adjacent or solo sections, which is really nice because I feel like that adds so much personality to some of these songs, and it adds a lot of like energy as well.
Instead of them just having like a fully synthesized track that they then do this approach on live, it's nice to hear the album just sounds like they do. And like Espresso, the guitar sort of licks, that's something that would normally be exclusive to the live performance.
Yeah.
Something that the session band would do, and they'd have all the extra frills on the drums and stuff. But that's something that you would always hear on the live version, and they'd just have it on a synth bed, or they'd just have like a little chime or something do it on the album version. So it's really nice that it just sounds the way it does on record, because I feel like a lot of albums that come out sort of sound choked by the production, whereas this sounds just really flowing and free. In a sense, but that's mainly because it's not just, it is sort of strapped to the grid, but it's not. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, like
I do. Yeah, a lot of the drums are very, very tight. Some of them sound sequenced, even though I don't think they are, just because the songs are up tempo, so it's very easy to play that. But some of it comes across as sounding almost sequenced, but you can tell there's a bit more liveliness to it. I think that's why they put guitars on a lot of the stuff. Because it sort of distracts you, because guitars are like one of the least emulatable instruments you can have, and one of the most expressive, really.
And I have seen a lot of people, right, very surprised that this is her that people think this is her second album, and they're very surprised it's her sixth. Like, I saw a billboard saying, well done, Sabrina Carpenter, her sixth album's out. And I saw loads of people in the comments, like the comment that was pinned to the post before I even looked at the comments was just sixth album, just with a question mark. And I think a lot of people just don't realise that some of the artists have been around for so long.
Back in the days of having to go to a shop and buy the album, I get that. I get how people could be like, I didn't see her other albums in the shops because maybe they're not as regionally popular in local shops and stuff like that, so you only get a new 2 albums. I understand that, but we're in a digital age where everything is discoverable, and so anybody who listened to Sabrina Carpenter who's remotely interested, it's one click away to see her album discography.
Oh, you mean like if you're listening to this album on streaming, you literally click her name and then it shows you that this is the 6th album, because you can see the Singularity Act 1 and 2 and the other albums there.
Yeah. So I don't understand the shock of it. I do understand the shock of people maybe who are more passively.
Apparently, she has referenced this as her sophomore album, but I think that the angle is with Island Records.
Yeah, they always have an angle.
So that's the full thing, because this is Emails I Can't Send and this are the only 2 albums that have been on Island in this direction. The others were all on the Disney record label, I believe. So
just remember, everybody, that the age-old quote, "You're only a new artist once," is a load of rubbish.
yeah, well, I mean, you're not a new artist until you're successful, arguably, is what I'm seeing at the moment. So it doesn't matter how much you've done until you're successful.
Somebody notices.
I mean, people said that with C6 Steve. They said brand new artist C6 Steve, didn't they? Literally.
Yeah, they did. They'll do it to anybody. It doesn't matter how many cracks they've had at it. I mean, a lot of people saying this about Chappelle Rome, wasn't they? That they've done a lot of music, and they actually had a different pseudonym, like for their original projects, like their original albums. So it's very common. And obviously, Charlie XCX. I mean, if you're British and you've seen Charlie XCX like dominate like since like 2014, it's really, really hard to believe people when they're talking about her being a brand new artist.
Yeah, I think for America in general, I've heard a lot of Americans on YouTube and stuff talk about Brat Summer and talk about it as like this brand new thing. And yes, Brat is a brand new thing, but I feel like a lot of them have only just discovered Charlie XCX.
I mean, she hasn't even been like, she hasn't been flying under the radar. She's been very, very overtly popular in like the UK. Like for 10 years. Like
she's like popular in a subculture manner, though.
She's popular if you're into, like, if you're aware on pop music, I think. But like from the off, like she had immediate chart songs. Like it's not like she was like creeping under the radar and then she started to get a little bit, like started to climb. It's like she was immediately in the charts. Like,
yeah,
I know she hasn't had like tons of number ones, but she has had a lot of top tens.
Yeah, and this actually, when it did a little scream bit on Juno, then it went into like the break. It actually reminded me of "If You're Too Shy, Let Me Know." Just very, very just on the tempo and just the feeling, because obviously in Yacht Rock they tend to just let the music hang out for like 10 seconds. And that's what I think is really good on some of these songs. Like Juno, I would say, is like the most Yacht Rocky song on the album. Would you say that, Pierre?
Yeah, I would.
It's between that and Taste.
As you say, you could almost imagine the 1975 do this song and it wouldn't shock you, but you could also imagine Bleachers playing this song.
Yes, you could.
It would sound very different. I'm not saying it would sound the same as Sabrina Carpenter's version, but you could imagine an arrangement where they could do it and it would feel like that band as well, when you encompass the full song.
Yeah, and there's this Juno's actually got a really nice guitar solo in as well. It's not like too intricate, but it's still a really nice moment in the song.
I'm convinced that the song is either inspired or written about Jack Antonoff's infamous Juno synthesizer that he won't stop showing up. The fact that regular, just normal music fans are going on and saying, "Is that Jack Antonoff's same one Juno keyboard?" Like in comments or like Twitter and stuff. Like when Taylor Swift released the Tortured Poets Department, everybody was like, "You can hear Jack Antonoff's Juno." I'm like, you shouldn't care what keyboard it is. Like music aficionados and people who are really into like composition and recording, I get why they would be like, it's a Juno. But also, it's just funny that that mainstream culture could actually lock onto that and even care.
Well, I suppose people have just been throttled with the word Juno keyboard, Juno keyboard, Juno keyboard. Everywhere you go, it's Juno keyboards. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. You'll see it on documentaries. You'll see it on like live performances because everybody's got Junos anyway. And the way that they do a lot of the keyboards, like, Roland is plastered across the side in an unmissable fashion. Funniest use of Roland keyboards is Walk the Moon because they're black tape that the R and so it just says and.
Yes,
yeah, the R, and L, so it just says and, which I think is really funny on the
and a ... dot.
Yeah.
Which means that they clearly never got their deal with Roland. Or they didn't want it.
But no, it's refreshing, and I'm hoping that we get more albums like this in this direction. We've talked about the country music boom, and I think this is it's adjacent. But the thing is that if country music is more popular, it then means that a lot of music that isn't electronic music can enter the charts without feeling like it sounds 100 years old.
The thing is with the way it is, yes, it is country music, and yes, this is like yacht rock-ish, but because it's all in comparison to like the most excessive or like established artists, it's very watered down. Like Post Malone's album's very good and very, very, defined as being country, but it is not an album that's taking any risks in country music. As a pop album, it's taken a massive risk, but as a country album, it's a very, very safe album. So I think like you only need to change a couple of ingredients in an album like that, and you do end up with an album that sounds like yacht rock, because the instrumentation and the overall, like the elements that make it sound like country or like rock or like yacht rock is so similar. Like country and rock at points almost like are the exact same thing. So I think a slight change in direction and maybe a summery mindset has made some of these songs that maybe were country songs sound like yacht rock.
Yeah, and also all the visuals have been leaning into, not specifically yacht rock, but into a late 70s, early 80s sort of home video sort of thing. All the teasers, the tour announcement, it's all been done on like old video cameras with that VHS sort of glitching effect.
I think a lot of people are citing yacht rock because of the summery association with the album. Like all the videos, like Espresso's very like
speedboats and stuff like that on the beach.
Yeah, first like summery video. It's all on the beach. The weather looks nice. Like so, even the album cover, it looks as if she's stood on the beach.
Yeah.
Or in an indescript location, but it's clearly summer. Like everything about it is screaming summer, and it has an upbeat sort of position that feels very summery.
Yeah, and I suppose you don't really get winter yacht rock albums, do you?
Can't think of any.
Because in Florida and LA, it never really gets cold, does it?
Yeah, it's not a yacht. You wouldn't be on your yacht in the snow. So yacht rock is a very summery thing. So I think that's partially why people are citing yacht rock. Also, yacht rock is a term that people just seem to latch onto because the idea of yacht rock is so ridiculous. But then again, I suppose yacht rock played a massive part in like GTA 5. And so a lot of people will be subconsciously aware of what yacht rock is. So many people played GTA 5 over its long
you mean a lot
lifespan.
of people who wouldn't typically have listened to yacht rock in the 80s and 90s have discovered it through
like
vehicles like that or movies and stuff like that.
If you're under the age of like, let's be honest, if you're under the age of 30, you have a very high likelihood of playing GTA 5. And GTA 5, the second station along is just yacht rock, and it's got Kenny Loggins just banging on about yacht rock. I'm on a yacht.
I kind of feel like GTA as a brand has almost like took yacht rock and had it as like their poster sort of theme in a lot of ways for the last 10 years or so.
On a lot of the games, yacht rock does play a big part, I feel like, in just because the full thing with GTA is excess, and yacht rock is the most excessive version of
most parodyable rock music, really, because like to parody yacht rock, all you need is a speedboat.
It's just music for the rich, by the rich, or at least for the rich dreaming. Like the goal is, oh man, I really like that yacht rock song. Like when you think about the videos, I'm trying to think about the videos that are actually on yachts, or the videos that are the most excessive yacht rock videos. Well,
let's think Ria by Duran Duran. That's all on speedboats and yachts.
Yeah, it is, but I would call that new wave. But I think it is yacht rock at the same time, in a certain sense. But it does lean more new wave. I'm trying to think about the pinnacle. But that visually, the video, yes, does the thing of, whoa, I wish I had so much money I could just mess about in a yacht all day. And that's sort of where yacht rock is leaning. And it's like the most excessive thing, because what do you do on a yacht? Nothing.
Well, you just go fishing,
just hang out.
Hang out, yeah.
It's like the most excessive thing. Do you know what I mean? A yacht is as practical as it isn't, and as we found, like, well, a lot of the stories come out like about some of these yachts being abandoned, particularly in COVID. They're very expensive just to leave in a dock.
Yeah, because they go off, don't they?
Yeah,
it's funny, but they do literally go off. But yeah, it would be interesting indeed to see if we get more albums that sound like this. Now, I kind of feel like we've sort of got this like pseudo country thing going on, and that is partly because a lot of the artists that are in the charts have either previously been country artists, or they've pivoted into music, like they've pivoted into country music, like a lot of artists have in recent years. Like we say, country music is having a big moment, but it just means that country adjacent music can get popular as well, and that is like yacht rock, southern rock, even to an extent like what you've seen with a lot of the rap music, where you've got just a more of a different blend of instrumentation and stuff, which is really nice. I like guitars. It's nice to hear guitars again in pop music.
I think for the most of the 2010s, guitars were just either very, very sterilized, like there was in, like, if you think about some of the big EDM songs, they had guitars in, but they were not really ran through amps most of the time. They were like processed with Ableton, just clean, like some of the Calvin Harris tracks come to mind. Very, very bizarre sounding guitars.
And I feel like with albums like Sob Rock and stuff like that, it's been really nice hearing like the really high processed chorus sort of 80s guitars that I really, really like, just making a comeback in general. It is slim pickings. You can see what I'm doing here with all these quotes. But it's been very nice just to get through and listen to all these new albums with really nice sort of yacht rock vibes, because they're few and far between, and you only get like one or two a year. And yacht rock's such a vibe for me, and it's just really, really nice. And let us know in the comments if you listen to yacht rock. Let us know if you listen to Sabrina Carpenter's new album and what you think. Do you only listen to the singles? Have you even listened to Juno? Listen to Juno. It's the best song on the album, in my opinion. Hopefully it gets a video. And on that note, thanks for listening, everybody.